I really want to see huge multiplayer servers in Chapter 3, and obviously this would require dedicated servers which currently don't work due to how Raft is coded, but being able to steal from each other would be so fun. Now that's just one feature I'd love to see added into Raft, and we have loads more to cover in today's video, so make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're looking forward to Chapter 3, and let's get into it. Starting off below the waves, let's talk about how building inside of Raft is pretty one-dimensional. Yes, you can expand your raft horizontally and up towards the sky, but what about down under the ocean? Yes, I'd love to see Redby add some kind of underwater building function, as it would create so many possibilities. Do I really think this kind of thing would be possible for Chapter 3? Honestly, I'm not sure, because Redby always seem to have huge surprises up their sleeves, but it wouldn't be an easy task. What do you guys think? Because I know for a fact loads of you are totally wanting a feature like this. You could build submarines, underwater cities, and so much more. Next up though is something for the animal lovers. Breedable animals. Well, I mean I didn't mean it like that, but you get what I'm trying to say. Obviously this could get a little out of hand, but if they added some kind of cooldown and made it pretty hard to breed them, like making it require a ton of crops so that it would be reasonably balanced. And it goes without saying that you shouldn't be able to breed for the rare animals. I actually like how you can only find them on islands, but maybe once you have two of them you could then breed them to get another rare one as well, and so on. But with how animals are currently collected, it just feels like we're heavily limited. But then again, you don't exactly need that many animals in this game, so although I think this suggestion could add a lot to Raft, it isn't anywhere near as important to me as some of the other features we'll be talking about in today's video. One of which I'll talk about right now, tool repairing. I could go on for hours about this feature, but I really think we need something like this in Raft. And of course there are multiple ways in which Redby could go about this feature, one of which could be by implementing a workbench where you could put in your damaged tool and with a few scrap cubes or something pay to repair it. Something like that would make exploration so much more enjoyable, because having to just throw away tools that are slightly diminished is pretty sad. I mean hell, even if we could combine two diminished tools to get a fresh one, that would be awesome. I mean forget the workbench, add that. But anyways, I think this next feature is unanimous within the entire community, even if you don't know it yet. Currently Raft has some pretty questionable building collision to say the least, and it kicks in pretty badly when trying to connect sprinklers through fences, for example, or trying to place stairs near areas where furniture is placed down. Literally, try it yourself. It can get super annoying, but obviously it's something that you only really run into when creating pretty detailed rafts. While we're on the topic of building, can we talk about building rotation? I mean, currently we can rotate the two high walls in 45-degree angles, meaning we can put them diagonally, but we can't do the same with a lot of other building blocks, like roof ends for example, and much more, which I won't even bother to mention in this video. But I do think Chapter 3 will actually change a lot of this stuff without us even having to know, and of course it will also add new building blocks, as we've already seen within the horizontal pillar leaked not too long ago. But it's time to move on to the inventory. I've got a lot to say about this one, and I'm sure you guys will agree. You know, the renovation update already added a bunch of new stuff to clog your inventory up, but surely Chapter 3 will just push it over the edge, right? I mean, come on, currently the stack size is 20, and with the backpack we still only have 30 slots in total with the hotbar included. To be honest, that's actually not all that bad, and I think it could even stay that way if we just got the stack size increased slightly. But I guess we don't even know whether Chapter 3 will add a new and improved backpack yet, which is entirely possible. I'm sure we'll find out soon though. Also, if you guys are impatient, there actually is a mod that changes this for you. In fact, it lets you set the maximum stack size to any number you want, so that you don't have to abide by the default Raft rules set in place. But anyways, it's time to talk about some new weapons we might receive in Chapter 3, because of course with any new update we'll receive countless new hostile mobs, bosses, and just generally a lot of stuff that is only out to kill us. Let's be real for a second though, the machete is great, but it breaks a little too quickly and can barely even take down the mama bear. So if we assume the next boss is even stronger, then we'll most definitely need some upgrades. Oh, and let me not forget to mention that there is a pretty high chance of some mobs being underwater in Chapter 3, given how deep Varuna Point is. So yeah, I'm going to mention that infamous Harpoon Gun I've already spoke about 100 times before on this channel. It's obviously not yet confirmed whether it will be introduced in Chapter 3, but I'm willing to bet good money on at least something similar being added. What other weapons do you guys want to see added though? Let me know in the comments down below. You know, guns, missiles, what are we thinking? Now let's talk about a quality of life feature that I think every game needs, and it's something Raft doesn't actually have yet. Stats, yes, it's as simple as that. I want to see some kind of stats tied to either your total time played within the game or a world by world basis, meaning you could see how much plastic you fished out of the ocean in certain worlds or how many trees you've placed, but that's only a small example of what you could do with stats. Being able to show off achievements is a heavily desired feature in most games nowadays, so if Raft did actually track every single action you take, then after playing in the same world for a while, you could easily have access to a detailed overview of all the different actions you've taken to get there. But guys, we are nearing the end, so it's time to talk about the animals inside of Raft. Previously, I spoke about breeding them, but what if Chapter 3 actually introduced new passive animals alongside the ones we already have in the game? I mean, it would only make sense if one of the storylines featured some sort of tameable animal, right? Like if the last island is actually inside of a jungle biome, then there's always a high possibility of us getting our hands on some tropical animals, like parrots for example. Now that is a proper ocean companion. And while we're on the topic of animals, let's mention the ocean animals that aren't yet of much use to us. But before, I'm sure you guys are aware, but it's already confirmed that Chapter 3 will be introducing a couple new ocean animals, with which we can actually interact with and kill. The jellyfish and the anglerfish, both prominently found at Varuna Point, but I get the feeling that they won't be the only change to the ocean. Not only is there a chance of Varuna Point actually featuring a boss mob at the bottom, for example a crocodile or a dragon, I don't know yet, but I feel like Red Bee are finally going to give those renovation update animals some character in the Chapter 3 update, because currently they really don't do too much but just swim there and add some atmosphere, which is great and all, but I feel like it's time we get to either tame the dolphins or at least harvest them for something, you know? Not to promote dolphin killing of course, but turtle shells have got to be useful somehow, right guys? Anyways, to finish off, the last feature I so desperately want in Chapter 3 is about building once again. In fact, it's about the materials we use to build. Yes, you've probably heard me cover this before, but imagine the things we could do with a glass material or a metal material or even a bamboo material. There are just so many possibilities, and it would allow for people to create actual realistic looking yachts and cruise ships, since of course none of the real world ones are made out of wood. And yes, I know some people will say that metal and glass wouldn't suit the resourceful nature of Raft, where everything is pretty scarce, but with every update we've seen this game advance ever so slightly to the point where in the next update we're going to get our hands on a remote metal anchor. I mean, come on, it feels like Red Bee are actually properly progressing the game and giving us some crazy good machinery, so why not pair that with some better looking materials? This one is something that I know will be controversial, but if you guys feel the same or think you have an even better idea, write it in the comments and I'll make sure to heart every single one I see. If you guys enjoyed this video, then leave me a like as it does help me out a lot. I hope you guys have a great day and I'll see you in the next one.